Hi, today we'll be talking about one of my favorite topics, programmer productivity. And to be honest, this has been a lifelong obsession of mine. And to be honest, I have found some clues, but I'm still in pursuit of finding the real truth for it. I will be breaking down this presentation into three main parts. Basically, what sort of mindsets, techniques, and tools do you need to level up as a programmer? So let's get started. The first thing in mindset is to talk about time management. There have been numerous books and talks that go on to the topic of time management. The way it has helped me to think about time management is to reduce it to the problem of energy management. And let me give you an anecdote. What I found useful for myself was the moment I tried to figure out when am I most productive, I found that I'm mostly productive in the morning time. So what I started doing was that I started blocking 4 hours each day in the morning where I spend no time checking mails or having some meetings. And I just focus on some hard problems during that 4 hour period. And that has helped me improve my productivity tremendously. The second part I want to talk about is having some dedicated time for goofing off. Generally, what happens with our minds is that if you try to get it disciplined from the get go, it might just not work out. So just like you block your time for productivity, you should probably also block your calendar for doing some stuff that is absolutely not related to anything to your work or programming in general, right? Just spend time goofing around, going on the internet, creating memes, or even spending your time learning about topics that you really wanted to learn outside of the work. And the third most important aspect of the mindset is having consistency in terms of walks and naps. What I found was in my productivity, personal productivity, my Sunday afternoon nap was a very good indicator of how my subsequent week's productivity was going to be. So I started taking my Sunday afternoon nap seriously, and it definitely helped improve at least 10 to 20% of my weekly productivity. All right, let's move on to the next part. The next aspect of leveling up as programmer is using the right techniques. And there are three things that I do as techniques to improve my productivity or increase my level as a programmer. First is I try to plan ahead, and this usually means planning at least a week to a month ahead. This allows me to look at the bigger picture and not get into the nitty gritties of things. So, planning ahead does definitely help you. And I encourage everyone to start planning their day ahead, be it in terms of important releases that you might have, certain bug fixes that you might need to fix, or some critical demos that you need to create for the management. The next technique I want to share is you can structure your day. So generally what I do is I have the 4 hour uninterrupted time in the morning. Then I spend some time catching up with my team, and the rest of the calendar is open for the various activity as and when needed. One more tip I want to share with you guys is I keep a no meeting Wednesdays. This allows me and my team to not worry about meetings, and on that one day we can work uninterrupted without any team meetings or any escalations. The third important part of the technique is to do weekly reviews. Generally, I do weekly reviews on last day of week. So let's say if we're working on Saturdays, we'll do it on Saturdays. If not, we'll do it on the Fridays. And they say the worst teacher in the world is the one that doesn't do any grading. So you need to be a very strict grader for yourself. You just need to look at what you had planned during the week and what actually got executed during the week. And what is most important during this phase is also to ask yourself is, if you have deviated a lot from your plan, how can you really not deviate in future, and having some sort of a checklist around it. So these are the few techniques that will help you to level up as a programmer. Finally, we get to the tools section, and in the tools section I want to cover four important tools that I use on daily basis. First is I maintain a Markdown file which has my daily log activities that I've done. So typically what would go into this is, what is my plan for the day? If I've discovered a specific bug, how did I solve it? So the link to that would also go into my daily log. And it doesn't need to be Markdown, it can be a simple text file as long as you're happy with the structure. The reason why I use Markdown is basically it allows me to maintain a good formatting without having to do a lot of explicit formatting on the file. The next important tool that I use in my arsenal is a Pomodoro technique, and there are a lot of tools and resources for that. But basically, it entails you buying a simple timer like this. You set it to 25, and you basically do a Pomodoro for 25 minutes that allows you to focus exclusively on one item and one item only. After that, you take frequent break. So the point of Pomodoro is not so much as focus, but it's also taking frequent breaks. So that 5-minute breaks after 25 minutes increases your overall cognitive abilities. The third important tool I use in my arsenal is whenever I'm coding, I am using the OBS Studio to record myself. So basically, that will include the screen or editor that I'm working on. And typically, on any given day, I record up to 3 to 4 such sessions of 25 minutes each. And the reason for doing this is it allows you to take a look at it in the future and figure out what are the common places you get stuck, what are the common things you can do to improve. All those things can be viewed or figured out by looking at these recording of yours when you're working. Plus, a nice benefit out of this is you also come to know how frequent you get distracted when you're working, and it also acts as a check. So there are a lot of pro athletes who look at other teams' videos, how they play, they look at their own videos as well and how they play. So it's a nice reflection and analysis tool that if used correctly, it will give you a good return on the time you're investing to set it up. And the last tool in the arsenal is I use some sort of a distraction pad. And the idea of distraction pad is just to have a simple piece of paper. Generally, I find my monkey brain coming up with ideas that, or things that I need to be checking. So how do I stay focused during a Pomodoro is basically I just write down that particular thought on piece of paper and move on. If you don't do it, generally it will make you impulsive in a sense that it will get you to do your own task. So these are the 4 tools that I feel will help you.